Hey guys, this is Izam and welcome back to my channel. And today's video I'm going to show you how to create this bowl of ramen. And this is a vector art and I did it using Vectornator Pro. I use my iPad Pro to create this. You can use any kinds of iPad as long as you can run Vectornator. So without further ado, let's get into the video. Hey guys, so today I'm going to make a bowl of ramen. So I'm going to use Full HD and that's the size of the canvas. So for now, let's make this grid a spacing of 20 pixels. Set the background as white. So now that we have this grid of 20 pixels by 20, we need to have the pen tool. We're going to use the pen tool and then we're going to set the fill to none. And then we're going to set the stroke. We have to then turn on the stroke and then make sure the color is about this, about yellowish beige, and that's it. I think we set the stroke to 12 and okay, let's begin. We're gonna start putting down our pen on this corner here. So then make sure that we have 1, 2, 3, 4 and 1, 2 like that. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm gonna zoom out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So 1, 2, 3. So we have three peaks over here. Now change your tool to this, the node, and double tap on these 3 peaks. Double tap on this one as well. Alright, so we're done. So now that we have this very nice curve or waves, look at this. Because we have set our canvas to a snapping, okay, we can snap. So I want you to do this and just drag this tool and snap over here 1, 2 pixels to the left. Do the same with this one because the curve is different over here. The curvature is different from here. So we just drag this 1, 2. Okay, so that is done. So now we have a very nice wave over here. And now we're going to duplicate this. To duplicate that, just press this tool, the move tool, and then press this duplicate button. And then we have this. Place it as close as you can to the next, to the first ramen, the first strand of curve, okay? So we need 3, 1, 2, 3. So the next one that we're going to do is we're going to adjust this curve, alright? So get your node tool and we're going to delete this. And we're going to delete this as well. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take this and we're going to duplicate and drag it over here. Alright, that is done. The next step we're going to do is duplicate this, take the node tool, delete this, and delete that. Okay, it's looking good. And I'm going to adjust this curve to make it like that. And then I'm going to duplicate this one, tap and drag the line and put it over here. Okay, turn this off and I'm going to move it over here. Okay, that is done. So now we have this very good ramen. It's like the ramen is like sticking out of the soup. Alright, that's how it's going to be. So that's the use of the grid to create this wave. So I want you to go to the layers panel. Now I'm going to rename this as ramen. We can now turn off the grid, snap to grid. I don't want to snap to grid anymore. And I think I'm not going to see the grid as well. I don't want to see the grid anymore. Alright, so this is done. I'm going to select all this and I'm going to drag it over here. I'm going to make it small. Notice that I'll use about 1 finger to constrain the size when I resize it. Now create a new layer. We're going to make the bowl. The bowl is very easy. Just use a circle and use the 1 finger on the screen to constrain the size. Okay, so this is the bowl. I'm going to make it a bit bigger to contain the ramen. This will contain the soup. Alright, so let's make it have a fill but do not have a stroke. Alright, no stroke. So this, I'm going to change the color to this. It's going to be a very hot bowl of ramen, but it's not going to be so hot like this. I'm going to tone down the red. Let's see, I'm going to make it like that, a bit orangey, and the yellow not too yellow, maybe closer to orange, something like that. Because the ramen is already yellow, we want it to be contrasting to the soup. So now it's a linear gradient. I do not wish it to be a linear gradient. I want it to be a elliptical gradient. So now we can adjust the gradient. We have to zoom in to get that point. Can you see that? So we have to zoom in to get that particular point. Okay, so this is done. So as you can see, our ramen has disappeared. So we have to drag this down and make it like that. All right, so I think this is fine. We're gonna duplicate this again. Okay, so to duplicate that, just tap here. Okay, tap this layer and press this, and I'm gonna resize it and make it bigger. So tap this to duplicate and tap this to resize. So I'm gonna do that. Okay, so now we have to create the bowl. We have created the soup, so we need to duplicate this. So use this move tool, press this to duplicate and this to resize. We're gonna make the rim, outer rim of the bowl. Alright, so that has been done. So make sure you turn this off and turn this off. So now what we're going to do is we're going to change the fill. This time around I'm going to change it to a solid color. So this solid color is going to be something like this, kind of a beige color, and I think that's fine. And let's check the layers. So this is on top. Let's put it down. Drag. Just drag over here. So just tap and drag below like that. So there you have it. So I think this is the inside of the bowl. Let's have another one. So use the move tool and just tap duplicate and resize, and let's resize it to make it bigger. Alright, so this is on top now. We're going to change it. This time around, yes, this is going to be the rim now. Just now was the insides of the bowl. So change the color to a darker one and tap out and tap this to turn this off and turn that off. So now go back to the layers and use this, tap and drag to the bottom. Now we have a very nice bowl. As you can see, this is a top-down view of the ramen. So this is done, I would say. So we can lock this so that we do not accidentally move it. We can also lock our ramen layer. So tap this ramen layer and press plus to create a new layer. So this time around, let's create an egg. So the easy way to have a very nice looking egg is to create a polygon first. So to create an egg, let's create a polygon, a 5-sided polygon. Alright, and tap that like that, and try to resize. Use the move tool and resize it to make it taller, and let's rotate like that. So now use the node tool and we're going to round this off. Double tap that, double tap that. We're gonna also double tap this. Okay, that is done. So using this node tool, we can move this upwards. Okay, use one finger on the screen to constrain the movement like that. So stretch it up. Okay, this peak is being stretched up like that. The curvature is like that. Okay, so this is I think this is perfect. This is good. So now select this by using the move tool, and then we're going to change the color to white. Yeah, I think white is good. White is good. So I'm going to resize this. I'm going to put it over here. As you can see, you can resize this to fit proportionally according to the size of the bowl. Alright, so you can roughly estimate how big an egg should be. So now we're going to draw the egg yolk. So an easy way is to create a circle. So we're going to tap away, out, tap this, and I'm going to change the color to this. Let's try this first. It's an orange color, and I'm going to use a move tool, tap this and move it over here. Alright, I think this is looking good, but I think an elliptical gradient would be much better. Change this color to, let's say, this. Change this color to maybe yellow. I'm going to drag this, and that's it. Maybe this will be a light orange, and then I'm going to put it over there, and we're done. So egg is done. I'm going to lock this. I'm going to rename this egg. Alright, and this one I'm going to rename it as bowl. So egg is done. So we're going to lock it, have another layer. We're going to create the seaweed. Alright, seaweed next. So seaweed is very easy. It's just going to be a very a sharp cornered rectangle, something like this. Alright, and it's going to stick out of the bowl. So I'm going to change the color, use this style, and then use a linear gradient. This linear gradient is going to be like that. This yellow is going to be a very dark green, something like this. And this particular point, this particular color over here is going to be a green color, but it's going to be quite dark. And it's going to be quite light. And this color over here is going to be dark. Something like that, because it's closer to the bowl. Alright, and that's it. We are done. So that's our seaweed. We're gonna add the green onions. So I have a new layer. So I'm gonna rename the previous layer as seaweed. Alright, I'm gonna draw the green onions, the chopped green onions. I'm gonna use this circle. So I'm gonna draw over here. So for the circle, it's going to be very easy. It's not going to be a gradient. It's just going to be a solid color. So I'm going to start off with a darker color like that. Alright. So I'm going to use this move tool. I'm going to duplicate this, and I'm going to resize it smaller. So I'm going to do that, something like this. Alright. So the insides, alright, is going to be a lighter color like this. And go back to your layers panel, and then just select both and go to style, go to arrange, then let's group that. So now we have this being grouped. This is one green onion. So use a move tool, turn off this duplicate. So now we can move this around. Let's zoom out. I'm going to move this, and I'm going to duplicate it and put it somewhere over here, and over here. Maybe somewhere here as well. So that is done. Change the name to green onions. Okay, so I'm going to lock this. I'm going to have a new layer. So this new layer is going to be some sprinkles like furikake. To create that, it's just going to be a very simple plus sign. To create a plus sign, it's going to be a rounded rectangle. So I'm going to do this. Just draw that. So we have this. So I'm going to just use this move tool and tap on the duplicate. I'm going to rotate. Okay, so check this out, and that's it. Turn this off, and then I'm going to select all of this, and I'm going to combine them. So go to style, go to path, and then here, combine. So it's done. So this, I'm going to change the color to go back to style, go to fill. I'm going to change the color to brown, and I'm going to resize it to make it smaller, something like that. It's going to be very, very small. So I'm going to duplicate this and add it over here, and maybe this one I'm going to make it smaller. I'm going to turn this off and put it over here, then this back on to duplicate and put it over here. Add another layer, so lock the previous layer. So the next one I'm going to do is the, what do you call that? It's something that it's a spiral thing. I think it's called Naruto. So we're going to have this. We're just going to have a circle. Okay, tap this and choose a circle, and have a perfect circle over here, and we're going to choose the color. This time around we're going to have a stroke. The stroke, we are going to change the stroke color to something like this but redder. Okay, so this is fine. And the fill, let's change it to white. Make sure it's a solid color. And now we're going to draw the spiral. So we have this spiral tool, which is very handy. I'm going to set the size to 82. There we go. We have this. But we're going to set the stroke width somewhat thinner, about maybe 7. And there you go. So use this tool and use the move tool and put it over here. And let's make it smaller and put it over here. This, I'm going to move this node over here and just double tap to remove those handles. Move over here and double tap. Okay, I'm just going to slightly adjust the handles. Okay, I'm going to double tap that, adjust the curve like that, make it closer. Okay, something like this. Alright, you don't have to be perfect. You can be perfect if you want, but I'm just going to stick with that. Alright, this will represent the Naruto. So this is basically done. I'm going to change this. Okay, I'm going to group this and go to style, go to arrange and group. So let's check it out. Why is it like that? Okay, so I'm just going to drag this and place it over here. Okay, so now that we have the Naruto, let's create a shadow for the Naruto. So all we need to do is we just duplicate this. Alright, so let's begin. So use this and just tap here, use the move tool, tap the duplicate and drag over here. But this time around, alright, we are not going to have all this fill, no stroke. And the fill, we're going to change the fill to a dark color. So I think brown is fine, but the opacity, we need to change the opacity. And also let's make use of a solid color. Let's see whether a solid color works. I think solid color is fine. So tap the layer and open this up, drag this shadow to the bottom and put it over there. So now I'm going to resize this. Remember to change this. You need to turn this off, otherwise you will accidentally duplicate it. And just going to place it over there. And I think I'm going to do this for the egg as well. I'm going to lock this Naruto layer. I'm going to unlock this egg layer. I'm going to use this to duplicate this, and then I'm going to drag it over here. I'm going to resize it, so make sure you turn off the duplicate and make it bigger. I'm going to change the color, make it brown, set the opacity to very light. I'm going to change it to a solid color, and I'm going to go back to layers, place this layer to the bottom, and I'm going to move this right about there. As you can see, I placed the shadow over this direction, so I'm going to resize it. Okay, and just take this, I'm going to place it something like that. Let's make the shadow for the seaweed as well. So now what we're going to do is we're going to duplicate this seaweed and make a shadow for it. So I'm just going to copy and paste. I'm not going to use this duplicate again because I accidentally always duplicate stuff because I forgot to turn this off. So now what we're going to do is we're going to move this, okay, and I must remember to change this color. Go to style. We are going to have this to be brown. Okay, it is a linear gradient. The first color over here, we're going to set it all the way to 0. I'm going to drag over there like that. Okay, so the shadow will be cast onto the bowl, inside the bowl and to the soup, but it's going to be disappearing into the soup. So over here we need to have another point. We need to have 3 points over here. So the last point will be all the way to 0, and this one maybe half, like that. Okay, so it will be nicely disappearing into the soup, something like that. So now what I'm going to do is we're going to use the move tool and just move it like that. Maybe this is good. Okay, I'm just going to adjust the gradient a bit like that, and that's it. But I have to drag this all the way down to the bottom, and that's it. Okay, we are done. I think it looks good. So far, so good. Alright, so the next thing that we're going to do to complete this artwork, alright, I'm going to lock this back, is to have another layer for the chopsticks. To do those chopsticks is very easy. We're just going to use this tool and change it to a rounded corner rectangle. We're going to resize this. Okay, so now we're going to change back the corner radius, make sure it's updated. All really nice rounded corner. I'm going to change it to a solid color. It's going to be a brown color. That's it. So now we're going to use this node tool, and what we're going to do is we're going to move this closer to the center. Notice I'm using one finger on the screen to constrain the movement, horizontal movement. And now we have this, a tapering edge, something like that. Okay, we're gonna taper it some more by moving this much closer, like that. And then we're just gonna drag that. It looks like we have another point over here. Okay, so that's fine. I'm just gonna delete that and just gonna bring it to the center. Okay, something like that, and double tap actually, and move like that, and that's it. I'm letting it go. Alright, so we have a very nice looking chopstick over here. I'm going to drag it to make it longer. What we're going to do is have some fine details over here. So let's go back to the layers panel. We are going to create something like that. Okay, and we're going to change this color to red, something like this, a solid red color. And I'm just going to put it over here, cover the chopstick. This we have to move it down so that the chopstick will mask this red color. Alright, so select both of this, go to style, go to path, change it to path, and tap mask so that the red detail of the chopstick will be here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy and paste and drag it over here like that. Alright, and I'm just gonna just tilt like that. Get this two things over here and just place it. Okay, just drag and place it over here. Just move this. I'm gonna move this closer. Just gonna rotate this back, and that is done. I'm gonna place that all the green onions. I'm going to lock this chopstick first. I'm going to rename it as chopsticks. Lock it. I'm going to unlock the naruto and unlock the green onions. Select all, and I'm going to move it over here. I'm just going to select the green onions. Then I'm just going to place it over here. So the next thing I'm going to do is to have some sort of a tablecloth below the bowl. So I have another layer. I'm going to lock back the green onions and the naruto, and that's it. The tablecloth it has to be right at the bottom. And let's begin. Use the rectangle tool. I'm just going to drag over here like that. Now use the move tool and just going to drag it over there. And I'm just going to just change the color, change it back to style, change it to beige color is fine, and I'm going to copy and paste it to create the shadow, drag it over here, create a brown color, change the opacity, the light one, something like that, and use the layers panel, drag this over here below, and gonna drag it closer like that. So to make things look interesting, what I'm going to do is I'm going to select this tablecloth and I'm just going to put it like that at an angle. I'm going to have another layer. I'm going to drag it below this tablecloth, and I'm just going to draw a background like that. but I'm gonna change the color. Changed it to something like that. I think this is fine. I'm gonna unlock this bowl. I'm gonna lock these two layers at the bottom. Take this last circle, I'm gonna copy and paste. And I'm gonna drag it, use the move tool over here. I'm gonna make it into a shadow. So use the fill tool. You can change the opacity over here as well. So I'm gonna change the opacity to the low one just to create a shadow. I'm gonna make it smaller, something like that, and just gonna place it over there. Go back to your layers panel. Make sure you place this shadow right at the bottom, and that's it. Alright, so that's done. I hope you like your bowl of ramen. I hope it's easy to do. This particular art reminds me of the 80s style graphics. I like it. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe by clicking on that subscribe button down here, I think. So anyway, I hope you have a great day ahead, and thank you for watching my video. Goodbye.